Today's class is a pick a card class with animal and plant guidance. So you guys loved my last pick a card class so much that we decided to do another one with an independent card deck series by Rebecca Lefebvre that you can get at aveclavie.com. And we'll just, like the last time, take a moment to sit or lie down and center yourself. You probably actually need to sit and look at the three images on the screen. The three cards on the screen. So feeling your connection with the earth, allowing your spine to be long. And just take some time with these three images, and without overthinking it, just notice which one you feel most called to. Pile 1, pile 2, or pile 3. And then in the show notes and or the first comment, there will be a timestamp that you can click on for pile 1, pile 2, or pile 3 to get started with your particular class for today. So I'll see you in your class. Hello, pile 1. For this class, you're going to need 2 blocks and a bolster. So we're going to start your class with reclined bound angle pose. So you're going to take your bolster. Actually, why don't we do 2 blocks, a bolster, and a strap. We'll add a strap to your list because I have it here for another class. So that way you can have an incline bolster, which is nice. It's easy. It's nicer on your neck, I find. And then the noise is peacocks in the park. And you can have your legs open like this. And if you want to support them, you can create a big loop with your strap. And place them around your legs. And then that'll provide some extra support for your reclined bound angle pose. And then you're going to rest back here. And I'm going to try not to roll down this hill. Okay, so allow yourself to settle in. Feel the gentle opening through your inner thighs, your pelvic floor, your chest. Feel the support of your props. So your first card is Sand Dollar. And the keyword for you there is intertidal. The shore where the sand dollar digs is called the intertidal zone. It exists above and below the water. It adjusts to fluctuating conditions. It teaches us to flow with the ebb and flow of life. So sometimes we give, sometimes we receive, and this giving and receiving comes in waves. Some days are gentle and refreshing, others are strong and unforgiving. Sometimes we experience a wave in that go over our head. So in this class, we're really going to be present and go with the flow. So if that resonates with you, you can set the intention to go with the flow. Or be curious about what going with the flow means to you. So follow the flow of your breath and let it drop right down into your pelvic bowl, ebbing and flowing. So you're going to go ahead and release this pose from your body. And our next pose, we're going to do a reclined twist with some movement. And I'll just tell you before we start, the card is juniper, and the keyword is expansiveness. And we'll talk a little bit about it more between the pose. So for this, you're going to need to put your props off to the side because you're not going to need them at all for this. And we'll start lying on our left side with our knees bent at a 90-degree angle, our arms to our side straight, and we're going to inhale open like a book, and then exhale close. So the card is juniper, and our keyword is expansiveness. Then before we go to the other side, just lie on your back and allow your spine to unravel. And while you do, let's just learn a little bit more about that card. Juniper is a circumpolar evergreen. It can be found in a ring almost entirely around the North Pole. It's one of the most widely distributed trees on the earth. If it were a star, circumpolar would be described as above the horizon at all times, so expansiveness. When we keep an open mind, we're able to have freedom of thought. So our question here is, can we hold more than one perspective at a time? Can we hold more than one perspective at a time? Okay, let's go ahead and do the other side. So you're going to lie on that side on your right side. And you could also take one of your blocks here to support your head, like that. And inhale, roll open. Exhale, roll back close. Thinking expansiveness as you roll open. Okay, and then you're going to come back onto your back and just let your spine unravel and settle. Okay, so here, just let your spine unravel. And I'm going to show you an alternative to pigeon pose here if it's too much for your knees. you can do figure 4 on your back, crossing your right ankle over the top of your left thigh. When we do the right side, and drawing your left knee in. If you have knee issues, make sure you're holding on behind your knees. And when we do the left side, obviously you'll cross your left ankle over your right thigh and draw your right knee in. Okay, so that's an alternative to pigeon pose. If you're joining us for pigeon pose, you're going to roll to your side and come onto all fours. And we'll slide your right leg forward and reach your left leg back and long. You can stay up here or you can fold forward here. So our card for this pose is scarab, and self-creation is our keyword. So we move from one moment to another, one experience to another, one realm to another. Transition or change occurs as frequently as our heart beats. And the scarab represents manifestation, growth, and renewal. So this is a powerful totem for self-creation, and it reminds us that we can make our lives happen. So let's go ahead and do pigeon pose on the other side. Or figure 4 if you're on your back. You'll bring your left ankle over top of your right thigh. If you're doing pigeon pose, left knee to left ankle. Reaching your right leg back and long and folding forward here. So you want to feel sensation on the outside of your right leg, right thigh, and into your right glutes. You don't want anything sharp or shooting through your left knee. You can fold part way down or all the way down. So we're focusing on self-creation, moving from one moment to another, one experience to another, the constancy of transition and change, manifestation, growth and renewal, self-creation, and making life happen. Okay, and then you're gonna walk back again. And for this, you might want to put a little extra padding underneath you if you're on hard floors or hard surface. We're gonna do some lunge pose here. So you're going to walk your left leg forward and lean into lunge pose until you feel an opening on the front of your right hip. So your card for this pose is hibiscus. And your keyword here is stages. Everything happens in stages. Everybody develops in stages. We're all working through something. Now, the hibiscus plant undergoes dramatic changes in one day. And human beings also move quickly. So it's no wonder that we rarely find ourselves on the same page as another person. And I love how Rebecca Lefebvre asks us, if we want more meaningful connection, we need to slow down, be present, and pay more attention. So she encourages us to move slowly and be present to the stage that you're in. Appreciate the stage that you're in, and also the stage of life that those around you are in as well. Okay, let's go ahead and do lunge pose on the other side. Go ahead and walk the right leg through now this time. Sinking down through that right hip, feeling that opening through our left hip. Slowing down. Being present to the stage that we're in. Appreciating the stage that we're in. And also appreciating the stage of life that others around us are in as well. Okay, let's step back. Excuse me, so rude. All right, so for this one, we're going to practice heron pose, and your key word is self-reliance. I'll tell you a little bit more about it after we do it, because you're going to need all your focus and concentration for doing the pose. If you really, you're going to be working on your balance. If you really want to work on your balance, try on uneven surfaces like here. You're going to see how much of a struggle it is for me to show you balance here, because I'm on a hill, which really adds another level to the balance. So I'm going to encourage you to take a short lunge, more like a square lunge. And then what you're going to do is find your footing, your balance in your front left foot. And you're going to stand on that front left foot. You're going to come up. So you bring your right knee up. And then you're going to extend your right knee. You're going to take it back. You're going to step back and lower back down to that lunge. Okay? So we're going to repeat this a few times. So really feel your footing on your front foot. You can curl your back toes under, come up into that left foot. Extend your right leg. Bend, step back, and lower down to the lunge. So find your footing in your front foot. Lift up. Extend your leg. Bend back and down. And we'll do 2 more like that. Make sure you're breathing. And we'll do 1 more. Wow, my inner arch is having to work so much to keep me from falling down this hill right now. Okay, so here, we'll just sit back. So heron is a solitary creature, symbolic of self-reliance. Healthy individuals grow strong communities. So trust your gut, travel with intention, and lead by example. When we demonstrate our own personal resolve, we inspire others to find their strength. Okay, let's go ahead and do that same sequence on the other side. So you're going to start with that more square lunge. Find your footing on your right foot. And you're going to step up, knee up, leg extends, knee bends, and back down to the lunge. You can use a wall or a chair, a windowsill, or your couch if you need extra support for balance. And we'll do one more like that. And we're going to come up to standing now. Okay? And we'll come into a standing forward fold. Then you're going to step back to plank. Drop your tail under, lift to up dog. And lower your knees. And you can sit back into child's pose or lie on your back and draw your knees into your chest. And then you're going to lie all the way down on your back for Shavasana. And I'm going to stay sitting up and just review the class for you as you rest back. So go ahead and rest back for Shavasana, lying on your back. Okay, so feel the support of the earth underneath you. Allow yourself to rest back and receive your class. So your messages from the animal and plant kingdom, we started with sand dollar in the intertidal zone. The shore where the sand dollar digs is called the intertidal zone. It exists above the water, and it adjusts to fluctuating conditions, teaching us to go with the ebb and flow of life. And then we received a message from juniper to be expansive. Juniper being that circumpolar evergreen that can be found in a ring almost entirely around the North Pole, and also being one of the most widely distributed trees on the earth, encouraging us to be expansive, to keep an open mind and to have freedom of thought. From there we had the scarab card with self-creation, moving from one moment to another, one experience to another, one realm to another, recognizing that change is frequent and that we can create our own manifestation, growth, and renewal, making our own life happen. From there, our card was hibiscus, reminding us that all life happens in stages. Our keyword there was stages. That each person, including ourselves, develops in stages. And this card encouraged us to slow down, to make meaningful connection with ourselves and each other, to be present to the stage that we're in, and also the stage in life that others around us are in. And finally, we heard from Heron about self-reliance, The heron's a solitary creature, but healthy individuals grow strong communities. So we were encouraged to trust our gut, travel with intention, lead by example, and remember that when we demonstrate our own personal resolve, we inspire others to find their strength as well. So you can go ahead and start to wiggle and stretch out. And you can bend your knees and roll to the side. Make your way up to seated. So thank you so much, Pile 1, for practicing with me today. Thank you so much for giving this video a like, a thumbs up, and for subscribing to the channel if you'd like to see more pick a card classes. And let me know your Let me know your Pile 1 by putting I am expanding from the intertidal zone. I am expanding from the intertidal zone. Then I'll know you did all the way through class 1, Pile 1. So thanks so much for practicing with me today. I'm sending you much love and many blessings from Beacon Hill Park in Victoria, BC. Hello, Pile 2. Welcome to your class. We're going to start with constructive rest today, which means you're going to lie down on your back with your knees bent and your feet flat on the floor. And by the way, you don't need any props for your class today. So you can have your hands on your body, that's a little more grounding, or you can have your palms up beside you, it's a little bit more opening and receptive. It's up to you, whatever feels right or best in your body. Feel the support of the earth underneath you. Allow yourself to drop into your body and connect with your breathing. So your first card was Forget Me Not. And we're going to focus on breath awareness in this pose and for this card. Our breath is something that we always carry with us. And this class has an interesting focus on the companion of our breath. Forget Me Not has the message of what you carry with you. So if you brush up against a forget-me-not flower, you may discover that little pods have hitched a ride and you're carrying them with you. So these tiny travelers offer special meaning for the person committed to the work of their lifetime. It's no small task to be dedicated to the advancement of your soul. It takes considerable humility to examine your shortcomings, identify your blocks, and take personal responsibility. And it takes even more energy if you might be already exhausted. But our breath is our companion on this journey, and we always carry it with us. Okay, let's go ahead and roll to your side. And we'll make our way up to seated. We're going to do a breath. I said no props, but you might want to sit kneeling on a block or on a chair or on a meditation cushion. So before we do our next pose, which we're going to do the breath in, I thought we would do the breath first before we go into the pose. The breath is called Kapalabhati breath or skull shining breath. And the way that it works is you have an active exhalation, so you draw your navel back to your spine and then you relax your belly and the breath comes in naturally, like without any effort. There's a vacuum effect that happens. So you don't need to overthink this. We'll do it through our mouth first, where you go, relax, and put your hands on your belly, it'll help. So you do it with a ha, strong ha, and then relax, and feel how the breath just naturally comes in through your nostrils. Ha, ha. So you can stay with that if that's enough for you today, or you can just close your mouth and do it through your nose. And you can do it as quickly or as slowly as you want. So quickly is going to really raise the energy. Slowly is going to keep it more grounded. So I prefer to do it a little bit more slowly, especially if you get like headaches or bringing the energy up maybe is a bit too much. Just keep the breath a little bit more slow. That'll keep it more grounded and calm for you. And it really clears out the lower lobes of the lungs. It's a very cleansing breath. It's very clarifying. So let's just try that again. We'll start with the ha's. Then close your mouth and do it through your nose. And this is one of those breaths that you can just fake it till you make it. Okay? So we're going to go into Dying Warrior pose. And in Dying Warrior pose, you could just do the pose or you can add the breath too. So there's no right or wrong, there's no better best. It's just an option. Okay? All right, so let's start here. You're going to take your left leg between the space of your right wrist and your right knee. And then you're going to lower your chest down. And bring the left side of your head to the ground. So your card here is the Phoenix. And your key word is ignite. So let's go ahead and do our breath here. Big inhale, full exhale. Breathe in part way. And hold your breath. And then when the need to exhale is there, you just breathe out. And breathe normally, just notice how you feel. Okay, so we'll come back up, find your way out of this pose, and we'll come to the center. Let's maybe do a few cat poses in the center. So that was Phoenix, and your card is Ignite. And the Phoenix rises from the ashes, reminding us that failure is part of life. Death and rebirth is just part of the process. So that we'll experience many deaths, many failures in our life, and learning is just part of life. And the Phoenix reminds us that we are transformed from the ashes of our life. Okay, shall we go ahead and do Phoenix pose on the other side? Phoenix pose. It could be Phoenix pose, actually. Dying Warrior is a great one for Phoenix pose, which is why I chose it, obviously. Okay, let's go ahead and do Dying Warrior on the other side. So you're going to take your right leg between the space of your left wrist and your left knee. It's a great one to do from down dog too. You reach up, take your leg through, and then you lower down. Okay, from here, you can stay in the pose here. That's totally fine. And if you want to add that skull shining breath to ignite this pose, you can. So big inhale, full exhale. Breathe in part way and hold. And then you'll exhale when the need is there. Okay, so from here we're going to gather ourselves up. And we're going to come into Sphinx pose. So you're going to lie down on your belly. So on your belly, you're just going to wiggle your hips from side to side. And tuck your right toes under, lift your knee, reach your right leg long. Tuck your left toes under, reach your knee, reach back through your left heel. And then walk your elbows underneath your shoulders and lift your sternum. Okay, so here, your card is B. You were wondering when that card was going to come up, right? So in this pose, we're going to do a variation on B's breath. So all we're going to do is we're going to hum when you breathe out. So you'll just breathe in, and you'll breathe out, and you'll just hum. So this breath, you guys can keep doing it. I'll tell you a little bit about it. It's so great. You can feel it vibrating in your mouth. You can feel it vibrating your jaw, let your teeth be loose. You have space between your teeth, let your tongue float. It will loosen your tongue. It'll vibrate all the way through your vagus nerve, which is really great for resilience and connection and safety. And it's just fantastic for those of you that know about the vagus nerve and the ventral vagus system. So you're inhaling and you're exhaling and you're humming. So bees are known for their role in pollination and also for producing sweet honey. And they live in communities and connect and work together. So the reason why we're doing bee's breath and that humming is because it activates the ventral vagus nerve. And when that ventral vagus nervous system is activated, then we feel safer in connecting with each other. So. And when you hum, you can try and vibrate it all the way through your head, your throat, through your lungs, all your internal organs, all the way down to your diaphragm. And then we're going to go ahead and just lie down on your belly and wiggle your hips from side to side. Just release. And then you'll push up onto all fours. Okay, so from here, we're going to do some cat pose. So you're going to exhale, round up. As you do, you're going to shift back. And then you're going to inhale and arch. And as you do, you're going to shift forward. So we're going to do waving cat pose. Exhale, round, shift back. Inhale, arch, shift forward. So your card here is the Ouroboros. The Ouroboros. And your keyword here is infinity. This card represents renewal, repetition, the endless spiral of beginnings and endings. So we all have our own natural rhythms. And we can bring reverence to our own imperfect perfection and our own resilience. Let's take this waving cat over to the side as well. And over to the other side. And then we'll come back to the center and we're going to finish with child's pose, your last pose before Shavasana. So you can take your knees a comfortable distance apart for you and you can fold forward and you can have your choice. You can have your arms forward or you can have them down by your feet, which your keyword here is soothing. Your card is calendula. So you choose where you want your feet. Your feet are going to have to be behind you, sorry to tell you. But you can choose where you want your hands to be. It is also very soothing to create a mudra in this pose where you take your hands between your legs and hold on to your feet here. So lots of choices there. So your keyword here is soothing. So calendula is a healing herb that is known for its soothing qualities, and it soothes irritation, both external and internal. So allow yourself to be soothed in this pose. Allow yourself to be soothed in this pose. Okay, we're going to slowly come out of this pose, and you can rest back for Shavasana. Lie down on your backs. You can do the constructive rest again if you want. I'm going to sit up and I'm going to review the messages from the animals and insects and plants from this class for you. Okay, so connecting with your breath again at the end of the class, allowing yourself to receive your practice. So we started with the forget-me-nots at the beginning of the class, reflecting on what we carry with us, remembering that our breath is something that we always carry with us throughout our lives. The forget-me-not is a flower that when you brush up against it, those little pods hitch a ride. So just notice how the companion of your breath has shifted and changed from the beginning to the end of this class. From there, we practice some Kapalabhati breath or some skull shining breath to ignite our dying warrior pose for the Phoenix card. The Phoenix being the card that reminds us that failure and falling down and getting up is a normal part of life. Death and rebirth is part of our human process, that we experience many deaths along the way as we learn from the experience of our life. And that we're transformed in the ashes of our lives. And with the B card, we practice that humming to activate our ventral vagus nerve, which is so great to connect that feeling of safety, connection with our inner selves, connection with each other, a sense of resilience. Because bees are known for their role in pollination, for producing sweet honey, and they connect with each other. They live in communities together, and we as humans survive together in communities, in connection. And when we practice that bee's breath, when we sing and when we hum, it activates the ventral vagus nervous system, which helps us to feel safe, connected internally and externally, and resilient. And then we moved on to the Ouroboros with infinity, which again came back to that theme of repetition and renewal, the endless spiral of beginnings and endings, and honoring our own natural rhythms, bringing reverence to our own imperfect pace, perfectly imperfect pace, and our, again, resilience. Finishing with the calendula flower and its soothing qualities, that its ability to soothe both external and internal irritations, and allowing ourselves to be soothed. So you can go ahead and start to wiggle and stretch out. Slowly make your way up to seated. Thank you so much, Pile 2, for practicing with me today. I really appreciate you pressing that like button, for subscribing to the channel if you'd like to see more pick-a-card classes. And let me know your Pile 2 by putting "I am soothed" in the comments. I am soothed in the comments. And yeah, feel free to share this with any of your friends that you think might enjoy it. And I'm sending you much love and many blessings from Beacon Hill Park, chilly Beacon Hill Park in Victoria, BC. Hello, Pile 3. Welcome to your class. For this class, you're going to need 2 blocks and a yoga strap. So we'll go ahead and start the class lying on your back. You can press pause if you need to go get your props. Otherwise, we'll start lying on your back. So let's just take a few minutes to settle in, to feel the support of the earth underneath you. Let yourself sink down with each exhalation. Okay, from here we're going to take your strap and you're going to place it around your right foot, around the ball of your right foot. And you're going to take your right leg straight in the air. And you can either leave your left leg bent, particularly if you have low back issues, or you can extend your left leg out. And you want to feel sensation along the back of your right leg. Let your shoulders be relaxed, so that you use the full length of your strap. Okay, so your first card is foxglove. And some say foxes wear gloves to keep dew off their paws. Others say they wore bell-like flowers around their necks, and their sound created a spell of protection against hunters and hounds. And many say that fairies hide inside the flowers of foxglove. All parts of this plant are poisonous, but derivatives of this plant are used for heart regulation. So mostly we're doing hand to big toe pose here to prepare for what's coming in this class. Let's open your right leg out to the side. And then engage your core, bring your right leg back to the center and cross it over your body until you feel sensation along the outside of your leg. Come back to the center, draw your leg in again. And then you can unhook your right foot, release your right leg down, and feel the difference between your right and your left leg, and also just the whole right and left side of your body, all the way up through your right hip, the right side of your diaphragm, your right shoulder, your right neck, the right side of your jaw and your tongue, up into the right side of your head. Okay, let's go ahead and hook up your left foot. And repeat that sequence on the left side. So again, if you have low back issues, nice to keep your left knee bent through this sequence, just to support your back, provide some extra stability. If not, you may wish to lengthen that right leg out. You want to feel sensation along the back of your left leg. Shoulders are relaxed and heavy on the ground, so you can use the full length of your strap here. And you don't need to white knuckle it here either. You can open your left leg out to the side. Engage your core, draw your rib cage down, bring your left leg back center. Let's cross it over your body, keeping your hips on the ground. You want to feel sensation along the outside of your left leg here. Keep drawing your left leg in towards your chest as well. And then bring your leg back to center, draw it in again. Lengthen it again. And then you're going to release your left leg down. And again, let's just check in. Feel the difference in sensation all the way up through your knee, your hip, your left diaphragm, your left shoulder, left side of your neck, your jaw, the left side of your cranium. Okay, from here, we're going to bend your knees, roll to your side, and we'll make our way up onto all fours. Okay, you can put your strap off to the side and your blocks off to the side. From here, we're going to just do a little bit of cat pose to warm up our spine. Your next pose is bull. Your next card is bull. And bull supports us in moving through life as we meet with many challenges. So bull reminds us to persevere. And we're going to be doing a lot of balancing in this class. So balance can be challenging. So when we practice balance, we gain confidence and courage to get up again and again each time we fall. So falling and failing is an inevitable part of balancing. So there's no need to criticize ourselves as we embrace our personal power to try and try again, and our humanness and our vulnerability as we practice these balancing poses. So let's just prepare ourselves a little bit here. You can do, I'm going to get you to do pigeon pose. You could do figure 4 on your back instead. So just open up our hips a little bit here. And then we'll come back and we'll do the other side. So pigeon pose on the other side. Sorry, I didn't cue which leg to do first. And then we're going to just do a little bit of lunge pose. So you're going to walk your hands back and we'll just walk our right leg through, open up the left hip. And we'll switch sides. So we'll walk the left leg through, open up the right hip. Okay, so we're going to start with some of our first balancing poses from the quadruped position. So you're going to remember bull is perseverance, and it's normal to come unbalanced when we're balancing. Balancing isn't about finding a perfect stable posture. So let's start with lifting our right side. So you're going to end up lifting you're going to bring your left knee in a bit and your left hand out a bit. So you've got a wider base here, okay? So they're not, if they're in line, it's going to be much more challenging for you. So left hand out, right knee in. Take your right arm forward, your right leg back, okay? And then you're going to lift. So that will be the first part. And you can stay there. So you lift, opposite arm and same arm and same leg. From there, you can take your right hand down to your side, bend your right leg, and hold onto your ankle. And you could stay here. And from here, you can roll open so that you're facing the side, so that your hip bone is open to the wall, probably in your place. So you've rolled open, you're facing the side now. So there's going to be movement imbalance. You might fall, you can come back in and out. It's no big deal. Okay, so let's roll back and let's try this on the other side. So let's set ourselves up for success again. We'll bring our knees in and your right hand out to the edge of your mat. This time you'll take your left hand forward and your right leg back. And we'll start by lifting the left leg and the left hand. And you can stay here, practicing lifting the same arm and same leg. Then you can bring your left hand down by the side of your body. You could stay there. Then you could practice maybe bending your left knee. You could stay there, or you can hold on to your left ankle. And you can stay there. And if you want to, you can roll open again so that your left hip is all the way open to the other wall. So remember, it's normal to have challenges. And what you might find, like me, I have an injury on this side, so this is a much more challenging side for me to balance on. Okay, so we're going to come back to the center, and let's just give ourselves a little break, do a little bit of cat pose here, perseverance, and the bull. And from here, you're going to make your way up to standing. You can come through downward facing dog, or you can come into a squat and roll up to standing. All right, so from here we're going to practice another balancing pose, which many of you probably know well, is tree pose. So you're going to stand on your right leg, turn your toes out. You can keep your right toes on the ground, or you can lift them up somewhere on the inside of your right leg. The higher you lift your foot, the more challenging your balance is going to be. You can even really challenge yourself by not even placing your foot on your leg, and by lifting and lowering your leg. Okay, so you can choose how you want to have this. And our card here is the Sequoia card. And the Sequoia teaches us, the peacock's like, no, it's always the peacock card. The Sequoia teaches us about perspective. So a sequoia lives for 3,000 years, which is a lot longer than our human life, which could be, well, it depends on how long you live. You know, we might live for 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 years, maybe 100 years, right? But compared to the lifespan of a sequoia tree, it's fairly insignificant. And it kind of gives us perspective, doesn't it, when we think about how long we're here for versus how long a sequoia is here. So it's an interesting thing to ponder, our small amount of time on this planet versus other living beings' time on this planet. So I don't know if my mic is picking it up, but it's Sunday here when we're filming this, and bagpipers start on Sunday at around 10 o'clock, and they've started now. So you might hear bagpiping in the background. Let's go ahead and do the other side. So again, you can choose where you want to place your foot, reflecting on our length, our time here, the preciousness of our life, and how our time here is quite insignificant compared to the sequoia tree, compared to many living beings on this planet. Okay, so our next pose is half moon balancing pose with the moon flower, the moon pose, the moon card. So let's do the pose, and in between we'll talk about the card, okay? So half moon balancing pose, I like using the block for it. You can use a chair too, which is even more supportive. So the way I like to practice is coming into a standing forward fold, placing the block. Let's start on the right side, on the right hand. You're going to stand on your right foot, open up your left hip. And you can open up your left arm as well. So half moon balancing pose. Great. So the moon, and why don't you do a forward fold in between? Standing forward fold. You can use your block for that as well. The moon has a powerful reflective quality, and its gravitational field generates the tidal force causing high and low tides. And in half moon balancing pose, we can notice how balance is a constantly changing force, like the tides, always coming in and going out. Balance is something that is constantly changing. Okay, let's try half moon balancing pose on the other side. So coming into your standing forward fold again, put your block to the outside of your left foot. You're going to reach your right leg up and back, open up your right hip. You're going to open up your right arm as well. Okay. And then your last card is the Moonflower card. And these were draws. These were not, they were random draws. So it's interesting the way these cards come out, right? And they all create a themed class. So for that one, we're going to do over the moon pose, which is, you can go back to practicing it on all fours if you want to stay closer to the ground. Otherwise, you can try it standing. So it's similar, or you can stay with half moon balancing. So for this one, our keyword is unfold. And I'll talk to you a little bit more about it in between the poses. But let's focus on the pose now, because these are quite challenging poses for sure. We'll come into the forward fold. And you'll stand on your right leg with that right block to the outside of your right foot, forward and outside. Lift your left leg, and you're going to hold onto your left ankle this time and open out to the side. Whoops. Whoops. That was a big fall. That was a big fall. Yeah, I'm okay. That was a big fall.
That was.
Yeah. I think I even scraped my knee on that one. Little grass, you know when you do the grass ones? Yeah. I'm glad it was grass, not pavement. Okay. So let's do standing forward fold. Let's do a wide-legged standing forward fold in between. Without a face plant. Oh, poor me. I was like, okay, shake it off. Yeah. Those are vulnerable moments, right? Falling in front of everybody like that. So we'll leave it in. See, I fall too. Okay, we're going to fold forward. And we'll have something super poetic for in between, as opposed to that unpoetic fall. So moonflower it's such a cool flower because they're nocturnal bloomers. They bloom in the moonlight. I probably should have practiced that pose in the moonlight. They encourage us to bring light to our shadow side. So they symbolize the beauty we can uncover when we have the courage to face our fear and look inwards. So our shadow side is not negative, and in the darkness of the night, the reflective light of the moonflower chooses to blossom. Okay, shall we try again? We'll try the other side. Remember, if you're afraid of falling like me from that high position, you can always practice that same pose from the quadruped position so that you're closer to the ground. So the other side, which I'm feeling more confident about because it's not on my injured side. You're going to stand on that left leg. The left block comes out to the side. You're going to open that right hip. Bend the right knee, reach around, hold on to the ankle, and open up. Okay, and if you haven't already fallen out of the pose, you can find a way to let that pose out of your body. And we'll come into forward fold just to release that wide-legged standing forward fold. And then you can go ahead and find your way down into Shavasana. You can lie back and I'll stay seated and review the class for you in Shavasana. Okay, so resting back and allowing yourself to settle into the earth. That was a challenging class for me. I don't know about you, but it was pretty challenging for me. So feel the support of the earth, allow yourself to settle in. And let's just reflect back on our experience. We started with the myth of foxglove, and then we moved into the perseverance of bull. As we move through life, we're met with many challenges, but bull reminds us to persevere because balance is challenging, and it can be challenging for lots of different reasons. And even metaphorically, we find it very challenging to find balance in our lives, right? To balance between work and rest and play and learning and living. So balance is challenging, as we saw from this class and my own experience, that falling over and failure is inevitable, but we just keep trying and we persevere, and that's what bull teaches us. And then we have that perspective of the sequoia tree who lives for 3,000 years, and our life is only a fraction of this lifespan. So our life is precious, and our time here is really quite insignificant in the grand scheme of things. So notice how this might change your perspective. We practice with the moon card and the reflective quality of the moon, the moon's gravitational pull generates the tides, causing high and low tides. And again, in half moon balancing pose, we notice how our balance is constantly changing, just like the force of the tides. And finally, with that beautiful moonflower, the unfold message. Moonflowers are nocturnal bloomers. They bloom in the moonlight. They encourage us to bring light to the parts that are harder for us to let other people see. Like, it's hard for us to let other people see us fail, to see us be challenged, to see us be vulnerable. So they symbolize the beauty that we can uncover when we have the courage to show people the sides of ourselves that are more vulnerable, that are harder to let others see. So our shadow side is not negative. In the darkness of the night and the reflective quality of the moonflower chooses to blossom. So you can go ahead and wiggle and stretch out and start to make your way up to seated. So thank you so much for joining me for this practice, Pile 3. I'm proud of you for this class. It was a challenging class, as I said, for me. Give yourself a thumbs up for completing it and put I bloom in the moonlight, so I know that you're Pile 3 and that you finished the class. And thanks so much for subscribing if you'd like to see more pick a card classes, and share it with your friends if you think it's fun and you'd like them to enjoy it as well. And thanks for being here. I'm sending you much love and many blessings from a chilly but beautiful Beacon Hill Park in Victoria, BC today.